Ever been arrested in a luxury marina lobby with a giant metal whale looking down at you, half the neighborhood holding up their phones, and you still have no clue what law you supposedly broke? Yeah, that happened to me. That's how my quiet life on the water capsized, all because of one woman who believed a clipboard and a buzzword dictionary made her queen of the coast. All I did was buy a boat slip 47A to be exact. What followed was a spiral of bureaucracy drama and enough HOA nonsense to qualify as some kind of performance art. If you've ever tangled with a self-declared community leader who makes rules up faster than a toddler with a crayon, you'll know exactly where this is headed. I rolled into Marina Vista Harbor on a hopeful Tuesday morning in March, feeling like maybe, just maybe, this was my shot at starting over. My boat repair shop had just gone under thanks to losing a big Navy contract, and that $85,000 boat slip was basically the last card I had to play. I'd won it at a city auction after the previous owner got foreclosed on for some HOA mess I honestly didn't fully understand at the time. My plan was simple: use the slip as a base to fix boats for other residents, maybe get back on my feet, keep my head above water, literally and figuratively. Marina Vista looked like something out of a travel magazine: gleaming white docks stretching over glassy blue water, palm trees lining the walkways, a little beach where families lounged while their boats got serviced. It felt like the perfect place to rebuild what I'd lost: 15 years of my life, my shop, my identity. I was hurting, but I was hopeful. What I didn't realize was that I'd just stepped right into the crosshairs of a pro-level scam artist. The first red flag should have been that white Tesla rolling up as I checked my slip. Out stepped this woman in a navy blazer, iPad in hand, like she was about to host a TED Talk. "I'm Meredith Clark," she announced, hand outstretched, voice crisp. "Community development consultant for Marina Vista." She spoke in bullet points. I introduced myself: Logan Harris, new owner of 47A. Her face went from friendly to ice cold in a heartbeat. "There's been a misunderstanding, Mr. Harris," she said, tapping away on her iPad. "Slip 47A is for commercial maritime development under our new community enhancement program. Personal use isn't permitted here." I tried to process that, pulled out every official city document I had stamped, signed, notarized. She barely glanced at them. "That auction had procedural irregularities," she replied, as if discussing the weather. "We're considering nullification of those sales." That wasn't just my boat slip, this was my whole future. She just kept taking photos, muttering corporate word salad about economic benefits and modernization standards. When I asked what authority she had to override a city auction, she went full politician. "I work with various stakeholders to optimize marina utilization." Translation: absolutely nothing. That's when Frank Delaney showed up. Marina manager, grizzled, practical, looked like he'd seen more than his share of maritime drama. "Everything okay here?" he asked, but his eyes were fixed on Meredith. As soon as she walked off, Frank pulled me aside. "Listen, Logan, nobody actually voted for her. She's been making life hell for boat owners ever since. 3 families forced out in the last few months, harassment, impossible fines, legal threats. This used to be a real community. Now everyone's just trying not to be the next target." Right on cue, Meredith swooped back in. "You have 48 hours to review our plans and decide whether you want to cooperate or face the consequences." That word consequences hit hard. She got back in her Tesla, tires crunching on gravel, leaving me standing there with Frank, fresh start, already teetering. 48 hours later, I opened my front door to a cardboard box that might as well have been a hand grenade. Inside, 8 blue violation notices. Total fines: $6,750. My name spelled wrong on every page. My crimes: existing while owning a boat, tightening a bolt with a screwdriver, starting my engine during quiet hours, which apparently meant every hour except Tuesday brunch and the pièce de resistance, eating a sandwich, unauthorized commercial food prep. There were even drone photos with arrows pointing at my lunch. Not kidding. When I dug into the commercial standards they kept citing, I found a 180-page emergency-approved document, 3 weeks old, never announced to residents, packed with requirements like commercial-grade cleaning protocols nobody could define, and environmental compliance from agencies that didn't exist. The whole thing was legal fiction designed to confuse, harass, and of course extract money. I figured, okay, time for the HOA meeting. Maybe there'd be reasonable people willing to listen. Nope. 4 people in the room. Meredith and 3 board members who looked like they'd wandered in from a community theater audition. Tried to make my case, but Meredith cut me off icy calm. We must prioritize community enhancement over individual convenience. Board nodded along dead-eyed and voted 4-0 to uphold all fines and add a $500 late fee for non-payment. As the meeting broke, Meredith handed me a 24-hour compliance notice, fake concern dripping off her words. That night, I called city planning, spent an hour on hold, and learned what I already suspected: there was no Meredith Clark in the county database. She had no authority, no credentials. She was a fraud, but she'd convinced everyone by acting official and burying people in paperwork. Next day, I didn't pay the fines, couldn't. Wasn't going to reward extortion anyway. That's when she filed something called an emergency community protection order. Claimed I threatened the community, showed a spliced-together video of me at the HOA meeting looking aggressive. Judge signed a restraining order banning me from the entire marina for 30 days. That meant I couldn't check my boat, couldn't work, couldn't even walk the docks. I thought maybe I'd just lay low, but 2 days later I was panicking. My engine was making weird noises before all this, and if something happened, I'd lose everything. So, yeah, I made a dumb choice. I snuck in at dawn thinking nobody would see. The security guard caught me. He looked like he hated every second of it, but he had to do his job. That's when I heard the click of heels. Meredith phone already out, voice quivering. Officers, he's here again. I'm scared. Cops arrived fast, too fast. This was a setup. Sir, you're under arrest for violating a restraining order. The cold metal of those cuffs, man, you never forget that. Walking through the marina lobby past the giant metal whale hands cuffed everyone watching felt like the longest walk of my life. No one remembered why I was there. They just saw a guy arrested at Luxury Marina in Meredith playing the part of terrified victim. I spent 24 hours in jail, plenty of time to stew over how completely I'd been outplayed. But Frank visited me the next day, nervous, looking over his shoulder. Meet me at the marina storage after hours. Don't tell anyone. That night in a dusty back room, Frank handed me boxes of records, real evidence. Meredith was a professional marina scammer running the same playbook at 2 other places. Emails with tour companies, plans to convert every residential slip into commercial 15% commissions, hundreds of thousands in kickbacks if she cleared out the owners. She was even squatting rent-free on slip 23B, faked her way into power, installed illegal cameras, and forged board election results. I called around, found her victims at other marinas. Same story, different names, families pushed out with fake fines and lawsuits. But unlike them, I had nothing left to lose. Frank and I put together a case, collecting paperwork, setting a trap. Here's where it gets fun. I called Meredith pretending to cave. I'll sell you 47A for $120,000. She took the bait, agreed to meet, live streamed for transparency. She showed up strutting like a peacock, and as soon as we started talking business, she let the secrets fly. Pacific Cruise Tours is paying for exclusive rights. We've relocated 12 residents already. Your slip is the last piece. She bragged about her 15% consulting fee, how the marina would make $50,000 more per month as a commercial facility. Over 600 people watched the stream explode with comments. Scam, fraud, call the news. I laid out the contracts, emails, even county records showing she'd been living in slip 23B illegally. Frank dumped out a stack of evidence, fake votes, forged fines, and surveillance receipts. Meredith finally realized she was being recorded, tried to grab her files, but it was too late. Her whole empire collapsed in front of the entire marina, over 1,000 viewers by the end. Community outrage was instant emergency. HOA meeting, every chair packed. They kicked her out, elected me president, reversed every bogus fine, and launched a full review of all regulations. Meredith tried to fight back, but county records were clear. She owed $43,000 in unpaid fees for the slip she'd been squatting on. I delivered the eviction notice myself, crowd cheering as her yacht got hauled out like a dead whale. There were Buy Meredith banners, popcorn people filming every second, justice as block party. In 2 months, the whole place turned around. Property values soared. Families felt safe again. My repair business thrived. I thought it was over until Meredith served me a $500,000 lawsuit for defamation and emotional distress. For 2 nights, I couldn't sleep, thinking she might win. But the community came together, crowdfunded legal fees, rallied support, and a local reporter exposed her as a serial marina scammer, using multiple names, scamming 3 marinas for almost $1 million. Her lawsuit got laughed out of court. She had to pay my legal bills, and the county transferred slip 23B to me as compensation. 6 months later, Marina Vista is a model for fighting back. I've got 2 slips of booming business and a custom sign on 47A that says private property authorized personnel only. Meredith. Last I heard, she's working at a car dealership in Arizona, sent me a letter asking for a character reference. Yeah, that's rich. So that's how I didn't just keep my boat slip, but ended up running the very marina a scammer tried to steal. Never underestimate what a stubborn boat owner can do with nothing left to lose and a community behind him. If this story got your blood boiling or made you laugh, drop a comment. Was I right to fight, or should I have just walked away? Ever dealt with an HOA nightmare? Share your wildest stories. I'll be reading. Sometimes poetic justice really is the best kind.